Welcome to From the Bleachers. I'm your host, as always, Shamus Clancy, coming to you from the wonderful BGN Radio podcast network as the Eagles make their January winter push for the postseason. It's been, 2 years since we saw playoff football in Philadelphia. It feels like 5, 6, 10, 15 years since we last saw the Eagles playing in postseason. And seeing them win in the postseason, that was, January, 8th, 2019, against the Bears in Chicago double joint game. Anything that happened before 2020, which we were saying, the last time the Eagles won a playoff game was January 2020. Last time they made the postseason was the 2019 season. It might as well be 40, 50 years ago at this point, the way the world works and everything going on the last couple of years, COVID, quarantine, all that, as well as the Eagles, where seemingly things are changing constantly with this team. New coach, new quarterback, another new quarterback, Gardner Minshew, 2 weeks ago at the Meadowlands, doing really well. And we're just kind of thinking, I don't know. It's been a while. I'm excited, though. Last season, the Eagles were kind of alive late. It was because the NFC East was so spectacularly bad, and they were still in it into Week 16, I believe, back when Week 16 was the penultimate week of the season, and they got blown out by the Cowboys in Dallas, and that ended the season, and they tanked in Week 17. But that didn't really feel like, a team that should be contending for the playoffs in the postseason. And this Eagles team isn't super special or really, really good or anything, but they're probably they're average to slightly above average, depending on the day. And that's all it's going to take to get that seventh and final spot in the NFC playoff picture, that third wild card team. When it came out, they were going to add another wild card team. They're going to add another day of the playoffs. I'm like, I don't know. But right now, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be as excited right now. You wouldn't be listening to this right now if there were only two wild card teams that there had been since 2002, when the NFL's divisional structure changed, when the Houston Texans joined the league, and it went from 3 divisions to 4 divisions and the 2 wild card teams from there. But I'm happy for that. I have the playoff odds. I've been crunching the numbers. Pepe Sylvia, always sunny mode, going nuts, 538. I know we kind of made fun of them in the election a couple times over the years, but for the NFL playoffs, an indispensable resource for me as I go about the Eagles day by day, running bet on BGN.com. I'm recording this late Monday afternoon. Tuesday, I have a mailbag dropping. The great Swaggy Mitch said, are we going to make the playoffs, man? The whole mailbag is about that, talking about the Birds, going through the playoff odds. So if you like what I'm saying on this podcast, check out the mailbag as well. Kind of a corresponding piece with what I'm going to talk about today. Look at the numbers on there. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm going to the game on Sunday. I went to the Meadowlands game. I didn't do last week's podcast. I took the week off. This Eagles bye week. I did an episode of Odds and End Zones, though, the 11th episode. We'll have the 12th episode coming up this week, too, recording Wednesday night, Zoe and I. Always a fun time. And also, as a reminder, you can stream all of our shows on the BGN YouTube channel. You can check me out here. I got my Kenwood Citywide University crew neck on, my favorite light beer. And it's from Philadelphia. What more could you want? I got the love this hat. Maybe my favorite hat. I have a Philadelphia A's hat. It's 47 brand, so it's not like someone made it locally or anything like that. But it has that really rich royal blue and the classic, legendary elephant logo. Here's a little trivia question for you, and I say it all the time. Not even on the podcast, but it's my go-to when I talk to my parents, old head Freds that love old baseball, old sports trivia. Which team of the 4 major sports has the most championships in the history of Philadelphia sports? Not the Phillies, not the Flyers, not the Eagles, not the Sixers, but the Philadelphia A's, who haven't played here since 1954. How wild is that? I believe they have 5 or 6 championships. More than any of the teams here, because the Sixers have 2 in Philadelphia, Flyers have 2, Phillies have 2, Eagles have 4 when considering the Super Bowl and those 3 NFC championship games in 48, 49, and 60. I am literally insane talking about all this and knowing all this. This is what I did in my life. Promising, good student growing up, smart guy, went to a good school, went to a great school right across the river in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, obviously Pennsylvania, at the University of Pennsylvania. And now what I do, I talk about the Eagles all day and give you trivia facts about the Philadelphia A's. This is my life. I chose it. I'm happy. But weird turn of events. Anyway, Eagles playoff odds. I got them right here. So essentially to me, the top 5 seeds in the NFC playoff picture are set. You have the 4 division winners, and you're going to have a wild card team that seems dead set in there. So the 4 divisional leaders right now are Arizona, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Dallas. And that first wild card team, that 5th seed, is going to be the Rams. And there's still a chance. Tonight's game is the Rams and the Cardinals are playing. So maybe if the Rams win, there's still an outside chance they could win that division if Arizona falls off a little bit. But Arizona is currently the 1 seed as of the time I'm recording this. So I think those 5 teams are set in some order. Depends on what Arizona and LA does. But currently, Arizona, Green Bay, Tampa, and Dallas all have greater than a 99% chance of making the postseason, according to 538's projections. The Rams are right there at 87% chance. They win tonight. I'm sure that goes up astronomically as well. So those teams seem locked in. And they have been for the last couple of weeks. But after this past week, after the 49ers, controversial ending at the end of the game, really good game, really entertaining game against the Bengals. 49ers beat the Bengals, good Bengals team, to go to 7-6. And they currently have a 76% chance of making the postseason. They're the 6th seed right now. It's not official, obviously, but in my head, the way I was talking about those first 5 teams I have in the last couple weeks, I'm locking in San Francisco to that 6th seed right now because they have a game up on all of these, lower tier teams. I think they might be closer to the Rams than they are to the Washingtons and the Eagles and the Minnesotas of the NFC hierarchy. So I think they'll get there. And what hurts the Eagles in their attempt to get something above the 7th seed to make a push for that 6th seed is not only is San Francisco a game up on them, they're essentially 2 games up on them because they beat the Eagles 17-11 back in week 2, home opener at Lincoln Financial Field, and they have that head-to-head tiebreaker, and that's huge. But luckily for the Eagles, they have a chance to get head-to-head tiebreakers over several of the teams they're fighting with for that 7th and final spot in the NFC playoffs. Currently, the 7th seed is the Washington football team at 6-7. Obviously, the Eagles play Washington this Sunday in Philly. And then in 2 weeks, they go down to, Landover, Maryland, to play them down there. So they have 2 games left against Washington. They win both those games. Washington's out of here, and the Eagles are probably making the playoffs. So they're the 7th seed right now. First team out right now. Minnesota Vikings. They have 2 games against the Bears, and a game against the Packers and Rams. So they could go 2-2 in that. I think they go 2-2. Eagles go 3-1. Eagles run the table the rest of the season. They're out. Eagles are in. I like it. I'm not scared about the Minnesota right now. I know we always joke 30-7. They're a team that's more tortured than the Eagles. You have that Gary Anderson game, 30-7 game, 2018 week 17. You have them losing 41-0 to the Giants in the 2000 NFC Championship game. All that craziness. So then you have the Eagles, who are currently the 9th seed, and the 10th and 11th seeds. These 4 teams I'm talking about outside of Washington, all 6-7 as well. You have Atlanta and New Orleans. They're both 6-7, but they're out of my mind because akin to the way the 49ers are a game up on the Eagles, but have that tiebreaker, that head-to-head tiebreaker. So it really feels like there's a true distance there. The Eagles wins the season opening win, and then that win a couple of weeks ago against the Saints are huge for the playoff picture because, yes, they all have the same record right now, but the Eagles beat both of those teams and have the head-to-head tiebreaker over both of them. So feeling good right now. Looking at the numbers, Washington, and this is again from 538's website, their playoff predictions. Go wild on there, go wild. Washington, out of these 5 teams, including Washington, these 5 teams who are fighting for that 7th seed, that 3rd wild card spot. Washington, Minnesota, Philly, Atlanta, Nova. Out of those 5 teams, the Eagles currently, that's the time I'm talking about this, have the best chance of making the postseason. According to 538's projections, the Eagles currently have a 38% chance of making the postseason. This compares to Minnesota, who has a 33% chance, Washington, a 27% chance, New Orleans, a 20% chance, and Atlanta, a 12% chance. I mean, they're not the greatest odds in the world, but I'm feeling pretty good. And for the teams that they're realistically fighting for that last playoff seed, they have the best chances. And the team that they should be probably most scared of is Washington. They have 2 chances to beat them over the next month. And if they can't beat Washington those 2 games, guess what? They don't deserve to make the playoffs anyway. So put up or shut up the next 4 games. You have 4 games left. And what stinks at that Giants game, and I'll harp on that all offseason if they miss the playoffs, is because Washington currently has a better divisional record and a better conference record than the Eagles. The Eagles are 0-2 in the division. They got smacked by Dallas in Monday Night Football, and then they had disastrous, embarrassing Giants game. And then you also have their conference record is 4-4, and if they beat the Giants, it would have been 5-3. Conversely, Washington is 1-1 in their division, and they are also 5-3 in the conference. So if that thing flipped, the Eagles could be either in the 6th seed or 7th. They could be in the 7th seed instead of Washington right now. But again, what matters most is these next 4 games. Nothing can be taken for granted. There are no gimme games. There are no easy wins. We saw, as I'm talking about, the Eagles get smacked by the Giants in an embarrassing fashion. They didn't get blown out, but that even almost makes it worse. The Giants were begging the Eagles to win that game, and they refused to. There are no easy wins. Do I think the Eagles will make the playoffs? Yeah. Do the numbers say they're most likely to get this playoff spot? Yes. But Washington's good. These are all divisional games. Got 4 divisional games coming up. Who knows if Dallas is going to be resting their starters or not come week 18? We don't know that yet. A lot of variables, but I'm liking their chances. And the numbers back it up. Big sabermetrics guy. Yeah, I took a class in college. This was the I don't want to say dummy. The humanities or social sciences major math class, I guess as an English major, was ideas in mathematics. And the final for the class, a lot of it was algebra that I had to learn like freshman, sophomore, junior year of high school. But I had gone so long in my 4 years of college, took a year off, took a gap year, came back. So I didn't really have taken a real math class and forever. And I didn't know how to do any of this algebra. Didn't remember how to do any of this. All I've been doing is writing about sports and stories about South Philly for my creative writing classes, all that type of stuff. So I didn't know how to do it. Anyway, they had a final paper. That's how the class didn't make any sense. It was ideas in mathematics. It wasn't a real math class, but it counted for the math requirement. Called Ideas in Mathematics. My final paper, coincidentally, the way things have transpired in Philadelphia sports, was about Daryl Morey and his history of bringing advanced analytics to the forefront and kind of being there for the analytical revolution in the NBA over the last 15 or so years. Now, president basketball operations for the Sixers. And maybe by the time you're listening to this, he's traded Ben Simmons away. What a great holiday that would be. 2 things I need this holiday season: Eagles playoff berth, Ben Simmons on another team. Love it. Going back to those numbers, again, I'm looking at these 538 projections. If the Eagles win on Sunday against Washington, that would increase their playoff odds from 38% to 55%. Now, if the Eagles lose against Washington, they go from 38% and they drop all the way to 11%. 11% chance ain't going to cut it, especially when that loss to Washington now bolsters their candidacy to get that final wild card spot. So you either win or you're done. Pretty simple. Just go win. Do it. So if the Eagles, and this is getting carried away, I'm just looking things down the line because we can. That's fun. I'm not saying this Washington game is a gimme. Yes, they're banged up. Yes, they're missing key players. But the Eagles, we saw them lose to the Giants a couple of weeks back, and it was terrible. It was terrible. So divisional games are tough. They're tougher than your normal conference or out-of-conference game. Even if teams like the Giants or Washington seem unsuspecting, and the Eagles really aren't that great of a team to begin with either. So they're all going to be a fight. Anyway, the Eagles beat Washington on Sunday, and then they have another home game on December 26th, the following Sunday, day after Christmas. Their odds would jump from 38% this week, and if they beat Washington, 55%. If they were to beat New York as well, 66%. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as the great Meatloaf once said. And now if you're thinking, oh, what if the Eagles lose to Washington but beat the Giants? Are they still going to be kind of in it with the last 2 games? Probably not, I don't think, because I'm just looking now that, again, as I said, the Eagles currently have a 38% chance to make the playoffs is per 538. Losing to Washington this Sunday would drop them to 11%. And if they were to lose to Washington and then beat New York the following week in Philadelphia, it only jumps up back to 17%. Not really likely with those 2 games left, especially with the next one's against Washington. So if Washington wins that, they're pretty much right in there in that 7th seed there. A lot of pandemonium, a lot of hectic things going on. I'm excited though. This is what I ask for every season, is to get to December and be playing meaningful football. And it's good for the business. It's good for my finances. It's good for my job. But it's also good for my personal life. And I talked about this all the time. My personal life and my professional life over the last, 7, 8, 9 years, I don't even know anymore, have become so increasingly intertwined to the point now where I've been a full-time freelance writer for the last 2 football seasons, the last 2 sports seasons, sports years, the last, 18 months or whatever it's been. But it was a blessing in disguise. It's working out now. And this is what it's all about. I'm excited. You're excited. Holiday parties? Maybe you don't want to talk about politics with your goofy uncle? Guess what? You could talk about the Eagles. Would you rather listen to talk about something like that? Or Jalen Hurts versus Gardner Minshew? I'm taking the Hurts-Minshew debate every single time. I have that going on. Hope everyone has good holidays, too. I'm going away to – this will be a quick story. I'm going away to Margaritaville for Christmas in Orlando. Margaritaville Cottages. Very excited. Haven't gone on a true vacation in a couple of years now. Obviously, COVID messes things up. I went away to my girlfriend Ashley and I had gone to Portland, Oregon in the summer of 2019. So it's been a while since I really went on a true vacation. So excited for that. I spent all day. I called 4 or 5 different sports bars in the Orlando, Kissimmee area, checking to see if places have a Sunday ticket. NFL Sunday ticket where they show all the football games at a bar. I'm like, hey, I'm from Philadelphia. Come down for my family. I got to watch the Eagles game on Sunday. My whole vacation isn't going to be based around the Eagles game. Obviously, going a couple of days to Disney World, chilling by. I don't know what the weather's like. Going to chill at some like tiki bar type, John. Going to do all that. Going to go to Disney, Star Wars, Epcot, Magic Kingdom, all that fun stuff. But on Sunday, the day before we leave, obviously going to want to watch the Eagles and then relax at night. So I found not like an obvious one I should have thought for first, a Miller's Ale House. I called them today. They said that if I get there at a reasonable time before the game, they should accommodate me and my crew to go watching Eagles, have some Miller's Ale beers. I don't know. I guess, do they have Miller Lite? I assume that's that. I don't think that's the naming or branding or whatever. I'm drinking out of a 76ers mug right now. There is another – I got this again, watch on YouTube makes a little bit more sense. Got this frosted mug from a bar. It's like aluminum, though, not like a true frosted mug. And there's a beer brand on the back. I usually don't show that. If I'm taking pictures and stuff like that, I'm not going to show it on here. But I like putting iced coffee in there in the morning. And obviously, I don't think they're going to have Kenwood at the Miller's Ale House in Orlando, Florida. So we'll see what else suffices. Maybe I'm crushing some tequila clubs during the Eagles game or some inferior light beers, I guess you could say. But hopefully, the Eagles win on Sunday. And I have concrete plans to watch this game on Sunday as kind of a end of vacation palate cleanser. Hopefully, a stress-free win coming the next 2 weeks. That's an oxymoron, and I guess in Eagles culture, assuming that a win can be stress-free when you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's look at a little potential playoff scenario matchups real quick to end things up here. So again, I'm recording this late Monday afternoon. Monday Night Football tonight. That could change things between the Rams and the Cardinals. So right now, as of this writing, I believe Arizona has the bye. So they have a bye. There's only one team gets a bye now with the restructured playoff structure where a seventh seed gets in and a third wild card team gets in. Arizona the bye. Team number 2 would be Green Bay, then Tampa Bay, then Dallas, then Rams, 49ers. And for the sake of this, it's not going to be fun to talk about the Washington football team's playoff match. Let's say the Eagles get in their 7th seed. So that'd be a situation where the Eagles would go to Green Bay to take on the Packers on the road, probably terrible weather, and try to be one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever live. Going to be a little difficult, I'd say. Also, you would have the 49ers playing the Bucks in Tampa, and then you have the Rams going to Dallas to play the Cowboys. I think the Rams have a chance in that game. Hopefully. Anything better than a playoff weekend where the Eagles win and Cowboys lose, that's the essence of living, baby. Nothing you could want more. Wondering who else they could draw. They're not going to play Dallas in the first round. I don't think that's out of the cards, but it would be pretty wild to play them 3 times. Maybe. Who knows? This Eagles team is really good. No, they're not. But again, I guess there's an off chance they could play Dallas in playoffs, and that would be insane energy. But if they go to Green Bay, the example I like to use in terms of going in there, I talked about it on a podcast with Zoe on Odds and Ends at some point this season, was Michael Vick in his first playoff game ever in the 2002 season. He goes up to Green Bay, upsets the Packers in terrible snowy conditions, runs all over the defense, and they pick up the win. And he was the first quarterback to win a playoff game in Lambeau by a non-Packers quarterback in decades or whatever the record may have been there. And I don't know, maybe Jalen Hurts could do that too. The Eagles are a team that's built to play winter football. If they end up having to play in Green Bay at any point in time, running the ball, pounding the rock. Obviously, they don't throw as much as fans might like sometimes, as much as would behoove Jalen Hurts in his development as a true NFL passer. But we'll see what happens there. Obviously, the other locales are for any type of football because you have Arizona inside, Tampa Bay's in Florida, Dallas is inside, LA's in LA, San Francisco in California. So a little bit different there. So that would be fun. Going down to Tampa Bay, I think the Bucs are going back to the Super Bowl. They control Arizona. They're as playoff tested as most of the Eagles, which is to say not at all. The Eagles do have some vestiges from that Super Bowl team. Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, leaders of the respective units, Rodney McLeod. So they do have some energy, some people in that building who've already experienced getting to the top, who've gone and fought through playoff games over different eras of Eagles football. Because you have Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox. They started playoff games when Chip Kelly was here and when Doug Peterson's here, and then they would be doing it, carrying it over into their third head coaching person in Philadelphia after Andy Reid, Chip, Doug, Nick. Now it's 4. But you get what I'm saying, that maybe if they were to get an experienced Arizona team, they can make some noise, control the ball, keep Kyler off the field. Jordan Howard comes back, rushes for 75 yards. Hurts throws his 65 yards on the ground. Boston Scott has 20. Miles Sanders has 60, whatever it is, and they win some playoff football that way. I don't care if it's the ugliest game in the history of the sport. An Eagles playoff win. That's all I could ask for this holiday season. Make the playoffs, win a game. I think just making the playoffs a successful season. Our John Stolnis wrote an article and did a podcast today, or the article released today, did a podcast over the weekend on the Great Eye on the Enemy podcast. Awesome listen to, especially as we're getting close to playing an opponent. And John does have some extra insight into Washington. I think he lives in the Washington area. So he knows probably a little bit more about Washington as a team just from being in the area than most Eagles fans kind of in our sort of insular echo chamber in the Philadelphia Twitter and media sphere. So it's a little bit different there. But so talking about Jalen Hurts' development, how important that is, and that might be even more important than making the playoffs. But what I say is, and I kind of agree with John saying in theory, but if the Eagles were to make the playoffs, that's usually because Jalen Hurts is probably playing well enough for the Eagles to do that, to go on this win streak to end the year. And if Jalen Hurts' development goes well, that probably means the Eagles are in the playoffs again as well. And, I do anything for the Eagles. That's what it's about, making the playoffs. And I want Jalen Hurts to succeed. I think numerous times, I'm sure I'm probably the biggest Hurts defender, Hurts stan on the BGN network, whether the radio or the website itself. So, he's my guy. I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed watching Gardner Minshew. I don't care. Either of them's out there. I want the Eagles to make the playoffs. But I'm hoping for playoff football. And, by 4:15 on Sunday, this could all be for naught and the Eagles lose and it's over. And I'm skipping Miller's Ale House and I'm sipping on some rum daiquiris at Margaritaville instead of going to Miller's Ale House. But I hope that's not the case. I think they're going to win. They're 3.5-point favorites right now. They open as. We'll see as it comes with injuries, because not only do the Washington has a bunch of injuries, but Taylor Heineke got knocked out of the game twice against Dallas yesterday. Again, yesterday being Sunday, I'm recording this on Monday. And Kyle Allen to come in a couple of times for him, did okay. But it seems like Taylor Heineke is going to play on Sunday. And I'm assuming Jalen Hurts is going to play as well, but obviously missed the last start, had a bye week to recuperate. Could see two quarterbacks who are maybe not their true selves in terms of health. See what happens there, but it's a winnable game for the Eagles. They're at home. It's the closest thing we'll have to a playoff atmosphere since the 2019 season in Philadelphia. Obviously, last season was a disaster and fans weren't truly there. So first time having a big December home game in 2 years, hopefully seeing a great, great atmosphere from the fans. I'm going to try to bring it. I hope everyone else brings it as well. All right, so I'll be recording an episode of Odds and End Zones. So if you like From the Bleachers, I'm sure you like Odds and End Zones too. Recording that Wednesday, and hopefully you can listen to it Thursday. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Shamus_Clancy. If you like my writing, if you like my podcasting, check out my Philadelphia sports newsletter, patreon.com/Shamus_Clancy. You can follow the BGN Instagram that I run as well with our great producer, Ray Shell, at Bleeding Green Insta, and bleedinggreennation.com. 5-star review. You know the whole deal. Go Birds. Need a big win. Keep bleeding green.